asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto in the Blockchain Basement, where we focus on God, family, country, and crypto, folks. It's Friday. I'm feeling fantastic, and I got my wonderful shirt in the mail. Shout out Charlie Kirk and the legacy he's left behind that has now more than 10x'd, and Christians are getting more in the face of the devil than ever. We're going to take a look at the charts because they dumped on us this morning. Are we in for a weekend dump? That's what we got to look at here. Saw some action going on in Michigan, moving forward with their Bitcoin reserve plan. But a lot of these ETF outlooks for altcoins actually look really, really good. I'm starting to have to reconsider my approach to what these ETFs can actually do for altcoins. So we're going to take a look at that, plus so much more, all on today's show. Good morning, everyone in the chat. We got Philip, Brandon, Cali Crypto Dude, Derek, Travis, Papa Goose, Jeff R. What is up, everyone? I got a bunch of chats, and shout out to everyone on Pump. We got Pump rolling as well. Now let's get into it without further ado. We got all kinds of stories to cover here today, and I had a lot of streams yesterday, some interesting shows actually that I was on. The Malik Mindset, me and Malik have been doing arena shows daily, but I also did a secondary arena show yesterday, where we were able to talk to the founder, Jason, one of the key people behind the arena here, to get some insights on what's expected from Avalanche's biggest social fi platform. Very, very cool show. If you're not following that, you're missing out. We also, we're being a little bit frisky, and thousands of dollars was given away to the chat. Absolutely ridiculous. I think there was I don't even know how much money, Matt, if you can hear me, how much money was given out last night. It was absolutely redonkulous. So, you get a chance, you're into Avalanche, you want to find out what the social platform that's built upon Avalanche actually looks like. Make sure to check that out. And also make sure to subscribe to the channels, folks. We got Discover Crypto here. And of course, the OG Blockchain Basement. We're multi-streaming, and I appreciate you if you want to check out this show live, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on either one of the channels. Now, without further ado, the markets, they got a little frisky. And I will say this, I got stopped out first thing this damn morning, right? Markets saw $111 million in liquidations. So thankfully, I wasn't part of the liquidations, but I did indeed get hit with a 10% stop loss on an ETH trade. I was trying to look up and to the right for Ethereum. Got a little bit of washout wick, not too concerned about it. The stop loss is my friend. It protects the bag, and I've had an incredible last few weeks trading, especially Morpho. Kind of feel like the moment I start looking outside of Morpho or Bitcoin and start messing around with Ethereum, everything goes to hell. So for you, for our bag's sake, I'm gonna stick to Morpho. Okay, so Trad Dad, that's right, Travis Bird, Trad Dad, man, bring it back. Not in vain. Where is this? Bring this up. Trad Dad, that is the way. Also, last night, my dog almost ate someone. Not going to lie, there's a future scholar outside of my house on the roadway arguing with some very plus size gal, and they were essentially building up towards a DV situation. But thankfully, my 110-pound cane Corso noticed the argument, and also my shepherd dog. He's like an Australian shepherd. Led the way. I had to stop the dog from actually moving in on the target. Target stopped acting so hard, backed the hell up, got back in his truck, and sped off. Shout out to Cane Corsos and having a yard dog or a group of yard dogs keeping your property safe and secure. Now, is this market safe and secure? $4.35 billion worth of Bitcoin and Ethereum options are going to expire today. This might be playing into exactly the volatility that we've seen this morning. Now, this is Bitcoin on a very zoomed in time frame, 3 minutes. Let's actually back up and look at it at the hourly because it was a pretty good little washout. But honestly, not too concerned as we sit right now. It does indeed look like we're still just building up a higher lows trend on Bitcoin. So the washout here, there's going to be washouts. We can be looking up and to the right only and be looking at the right direction because we're in a bull market, but there will be washouts. There will be blood. We have to remember that in trading. But honestly, I've seen some spot positions that have opened up that I'm kind of enticed about. Kind of enticed about these new spot positions that I might be buying up with all of the tether I've been printing over the last few weeks as well. Ethereum, let's go check out that chart real quick. Flipper Frank, good to see you, my man. Now, under $4,500, it's the end of the world, right? No, probably not. Where we fell down to is actually right at the top end of these volume node shelves, right? About 44.70. Going into this weekend, though, I am going to be very cautious. It is, low volume, easy to manipulate. And we all know the markets are going to manipulate the hard way. And, another spot position that I saw open up is actually on one of my favorite projects, Morpho. So, me, I've been trading Morpho hard. It found some support at about $2.10, but I am enticed once again at getting some spot Morpho. I want to build out that bag. I actually think that where this market is going, I did a little bit of consideration on, what Morpho is capable of. And I am simply underexposed. Even though it's one of my bigger altcoin positions, I do indeed feel underexposed to Morpho. Still, Avalanche has been one of the more bullish layer one projects in terms of chart action. Me and my buddy Matt on the arena stream were just printing on this pattern up and to the right until we lost control. And it is about 1 p.m. You know it. Those Chinese whales, they take control of the market. They wash in the middle of the night. But up until then, man, we were just longing, jeeting right at the old peak, let it go up a little bit above, and then come back down to the trend line, long it again. He was even shorting all the way back down. And you know what? A lot of the money that was made last night, it makes its way back to the community. That's what's so cool about the arena is that those kind of interactions with the chat can go both ways, right? The creator can send money into the chat can send money to each other within the chat, etc. It's a very, very cool thing. So shout out to you, Matt. I know you got the team over there watching the show, and it was actually the biggest show on the arena. Hundreds and hundreds of people. I think it was like 500 people watching. It's really cool to see an Avalanche-based altcoin SocialFi platform actually driving that amount of viewership. Very, very cool. Now, in this title, top 3 altcoins to watch. Well, what does that mean? Well, we're going to take a look at what the markets are actually watching. What are the top 3 trending tokens right now? And this is absolute chaos. So, right now, the top trending token is World Liberty Financial stablecoin. Oh. A stable coin of Trump's is the top trending in all of crypto right now. What the hell is going on here? APX, not touching this. Velo, wife still won't forgive me for that Velo entry point. Maybe it's trying to find that return movement. But honestly, there's really no concise things. The main thing that I'm actually seeing here is Pump Fund starting to lose a little bit of ground. Right. It had been moving very, very nicely over the course of the last month. And we actually got to kind of measure out this pump. Maybe those trenchers are running out of juice, running out of steam. If they notice, I'm still alive there because I'm there to bring them decent content rather than some soulless twit staring into the chart, staring into the chat, waiting for them to buy the token so they can dump on them. Maybe you guys need a little bit of actual crypto education over on Pump Fund. That's my approach there. Now, where does liquidations live? Where do the liquidations live right now? Let's have a look on the grander scheme. Put this up on the jumbo. Boom. All right. So came very, very close to a large amount of liquidations on Ethereum at $4,500 flat. It is in dead man zone right now. But I think more importantly, heading into the weekend, we got to check out where the pain will be on Bitcoin. In the shorter term, very split decision here. Go to the 24-hour, though. you're getting a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I know that the bottom end has this brighter bar, but you have actually a good amount of liquidity above you. And we back all the way on up to the 3-day. It is very much leaning towards a pump on Bitcoin to $119,000. So, yes, I'm cognizant and prepared if there is a weekend dump. Yes, I am. The market makers, the people that are manipulating the markets, and they say crypto can be manipulated. What do you think's been happening to silver, right? What do you think JP Morgan's been doing to silver, the second biggest metal commodity on the planet for decades, right? They manipulate it. When there's big money involved, there is big manipulation involved, right? Something came in the mail today. I wonder what that is. Well, are you talking about here, Deontay? What'd you get? What'd you get? I got this in the mail yesterday. This shirt, Charlie Kirk shirt, came in the mail. Super excited about it. Definitely a conversation starter. Definitely a conversation starter out there. Now, with all of this big, and not really big, but slight washout. I don't want to call it a big washout. A big washout on Bitcoin is breaching them below $100,000. Tis but a scratch, in my opinion. But it's kind of weird because right as that dump happened, we had Trump coming out with very bullish news. He completed a very productive call with President Xi of China, made progress on very important issues, including trade, fentanyl. They need to bring the war between Russia and Ukraine to an end, and the approval of the TikTok deal. I also agreed with President Xi that we would meet at the APEC summit in South Korea. There, we would go to China in the early part of next year, and the President Xi would likewise come to the United States at an appropriate time. The call was a very good one. We will be speaking again by phone. Appreciate the TikTok approval. Both look forward to the meeting at APEC. So it just kind of is counterintuitive finally seeing some life come to this trade deal, this relationship with China. And really, Trump's like, it's all okay. Xi's going to come here at the beginning of next year. We're going to meet up in South Korea. All is fine. They're going to work on talking some sense into Russia over this whole Ukraine thing. And the market just, I think the market is caring less and less about these trade deal negotiations. It just kind of feels that way. It does kind of feel that way. Let's see. I want to go through your guys' chat. Did you cover Shubaduki TA? I will never cover Shubaduki TA. Absolutely not. But thank you for asking. Now, this is interesting. Brian Armstrong, we got this fixed. Account recovery complete. His NBA star Kevin Durant invested in Bitcoin in 2016, but it was locked, and he was locked out of his Coinbase account until just last week. Spending nearly 9 years locked out of your Coinbase account, that is absolutely insane. Bitcoin was $650 at the time when he got locked out of his account. Brian Armstrong posted that they finally got it fixed. Why the hell did it take so long? Why? I mean, Kevin Durant's kind of a big name. He probably really wanted access to that. He's a pretty rich guy. That's absolutely nuts. That is absolutely nuts. But you know what? It's almost like a forced hodl, right? It's almost like a forced hodl. And I wonder if Kevin would have just cheated well before we got to the point we are right now, instead of being forced to hodl that $650 Bitcoin all the way on up to nearly $120,000. Durant just doubled his net worth. Yeah, absolutely crazy. I wonder how much he ended up making out of that. That's absolutely funny. That's nuts. That is nuts. It's almost like those stories where you invest in crypto and say you go to jail or something like that. You're forced away from the charts. You're forced away from the bags. You're forced to stop paying attention, just sit on your hands, get your damn greasy fingers off of the keyboard. And all of a sudden, 10 years later, you're rich. It appears he has become extremely rich. Now, this is the outlook that I think we all need. When is Bitcoin going to $1 million? This is the Winklevi. Shout out to them. Let's have a listen to what they got to say about Bitcoin and the timeline for $1 million price.
We actually looked it up. I think the last time we spoke to you was when we launched Gemini in 2015 in October, so almost 10 years ago today. And I think the price of Bitcoin was $380. And so we've come a long way, but we also think it's still very much the bottom of the first inning because we see Bitcoin trading at $1 million a Bitcoin if it disrupts gold. And we think Bitcoin is gold 2.0. And I think we said the same exact thing to you about 10 years ago today. So we think there's easily a 10x from here. And it's still really early. And I think we'll be sitting here 10 years from now and looking back and saying, wow, today was really early.
And I think few people actually listened back then. So hopefully more people listen today.
10 years from now is not unreasonable. 10 years from now, growth of Bitcoin hitting levels that gold is at today, $20 trillion market cap, I think actually would be something pretty easy to accomplish. I am actually leaning more bullish than that. I think in 10 years, we're going to be looking at a $3 million plus Bitcoin based on just generally crypto adoption, the rails that are being opened up on a legislative level and in terms of banking and the adoption there within, the pain points that are in banking, causing them to adopt new approaches to what we know as money. This is what we see with the stablecoin, the Genius Act, all of these movements that are happening with the US government are adjustments to a dying fiat system to keep it on life support and keep the control going, the American dollar control. And what is up, Crypto Steve-O? Good to see you, my man. Much love to you. Nice to see you in the chat, my man. Now let's keep on heading through the charts here. We got Julian Patel, certified financial advisor. Okay, let's have a look at what he's got. Not even close. GMI Bitcoin top cycle top finder, the CTF, and this pink is the price action here. Really, this is kind of the same design that we've seen with the macro RSIs, and it makes a lot of sense. This zone right here is where ETFs for institutions had been released, stair stepping on up, chopping people out, making them think that the market's over. The upside's a little bit muted, but now we have the flattest floor we've ever had to punch up and above to new all-time highs. Now, if it's an up-only market, maybe I will, I'm going to keep moonbags behind and obviously my Bitcoin, but I'm going to be cheating altcoins regardless of these graphs. Maybe I'll hate myself for doing so. I'm leaning still towards Q1 of 2026 being that overhyped top where, like last cycle, we saw pictures of rocks being sold for multiple millions of dollars. When you see someone talking about a rock, a picture of a rock that is sold for more than $1 million, I'm out. Okay, I'm out. That is the move here. Deontay, thank you very much for the thank you very much for being you. You're not even demanding anything. You're just supporting the channel. What a guy. Hold on. Shout out to you, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Now we talk about markets finding their equilibrium. We talk about the regulation and letting the markets regulate themselves, right? Well, here's a visual representation of what happens when you let the market regulate itself. Taco Bell, okay? Mountain Dew Baja Blast Pie coming to Taco Bell in November. This is the market regulating itself. Now, this whole Trump Gaddafi meta, I hope, does expand. Okay? I'm not sorry for that. I am not sorry for that. And we live in a hybrid government technocratic control mechanism anyways, a hybridized version of capitalism. It's not the idea of true free market capitalism that we all had in mind. It is something much, much different, and it has been for quite some time. Better to me to call a spade, right? Better for me to call a spade and just admit, right? We need a Bitcoin dictator. Okay, we need a Bitcoin dictator. Just my personal opinion. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm right. Let's have a look at this. This is what happens also. Market regulating itself. The 2-tower Denver Energy Center sold at auction last week for 3% of its price 12 years ago. You read that right. It sold for 3% of what it was sold for 12 years ago. Now, when we look at why the markets are under so much stress, okay, we can look at Bitcoin, we can look at all these different moving averages and all those things, and they do play in on short-term TA. The system of perpetual debt creation is failing us. This building here in Denver was hype cycle. This is like buying an NFT of a rock for $4 million 4 years ago. This building just sold for $5.3 million. It was originally purchased for $176 million in 2013. In 2022, JP Morgan Chase Commercial Mortgage Security Trust bought the Denver Energy Center for $88 million in a foreclosure. Oh, interesting. It's almost like JP Morgan steps in as the front man for the government to step in and try to regulate the markets, right? It's a free market, right? Foreclosure auction after the owner failed to make payments on the $102 million mortgage. The 785,000 square foot complex at 1625 and 1675 Broadway is just 18% occupied. Built in 1979 and 1980. The buyer is Los Angeles developer Asher Lozado. Denver now ranks number 6 nationally for CMBS office delinquencies at 27.2% delinquencies. Absolutely insane. Nearly triple the U.S. average, according to TREP. CBRE pegs second quarter downtown vacancy at 36%. 36% of the buildings are empty, but the market's fine. Right. Huge shout out to my man here, Blockchain Report, Jeff. My name is Jeff. Thank you for the memberships, man. Thank you very much for the memberships. And before I forget, make sure that you do go follow DeFi Crypto and Airdrop. Okay. They work hard. They're working in the trenches, finding all the mechanisms for earning that constant yield on DeFi. Jeff and a Veteran Crypto, 2 runners, and they've actually had some pretty big names joining them on the show. I think it was David. Can't remember this middle fella's name. The middle fella's name doesn't stick with me, but very smart fella. I've been listening to their shows, kind of lurking after work. They work hard for you. Celebrating the Linea airdrop. All right. Saved from your hack wallet. Oh, there you go, man. That's worth celebrating. Absolutely love to hear that win. Huge. Good stuff, Mr. Jeff. Now, let's keep on moving to the charts. Right? JP Morgan, speaking of them, it raised Apple target price to $280 from $255. It seems that Apple is still got good upward trajectory, but we know that these giant banks, they get it wrong, right? We saw JP Morgan, they tried to back up that building. They thought it was a good buy, a good foreclosure purchase at around $88 million, just sold for $3 million, right? They lost their asses. They don't hit everything, but I would say that Apple is a very, very entrenched, very here to stay company. And I got to be careful talking about them, right? Because of how entrenched they are. As you see, when I show anything that is theirs, they literally are able to kick us off the internet. So smash the like, reshare the stream. Okay. I'm happy to be back on the internet. Happy to be over that whole mess. Jesus. All right. U.S. Treasury equity portfolio is off to a good start, according to TJ Buffett. Intel stock surged over 30% after NVIDIA announced a $5 billion investment into the company. We covered this earlier. This is the financial centipede, right? Oracle, NVIDIA, Intel, all buying each other's products, selling each other their different products, reporting the earnings, reporting the growth, and then raising capital from those forward projections. Very, very interesting. Sustainable. Who knows for how long? We know that in my heart of hearts, I feel that, AI, yes, bullish, but also probably a long-term bubble. I think it's probably, going to be an exciting time for AI investments, AI expansion, power expansion. But I think that there will be a reckoning point. When that is, I can't exactly tell. Macroeconomic outlook kind of looks like the end of 2027 could set up a situation like I showed you on the gold chart, where you spent 10, 20 years in absolute sideways purgatory on commodities that hedge against, inflationary pressures to the dollar. But There are some nuances. Now houses are much more expensive than they were during that last stagflationary event. There's more mechanisms for the Treasury and the Federal Reserve to obfuscate the problem, to send it down another hallway. And they've been building escape routes ever since then that go different directions, right? So they've kind of muddied up the water, the clear representation of where the breakpoint really is. But you know what? Everything that goes up must come down at a point. Now, how high it can go, how low it goes after that, we're going to find out here over the course of the next few years. MetaMask launched their own in-wallet perpetuals trading through Hyperliquid. Absolutely insane. MetaMask now releasing perpetuals, decentralized perpetuals within the wallet themselves. And this is where we kind of see the DEX battle happening, where CZ, he's lit up about Aster. He's lit up that Hyperliquid has achieved this much success. But even other things like I think it was Aventis from Base, Drift on Solana. We see a lot of decentralized perpetuals starting to pop off, right? So in my mind, yes, it's, I trade on LBank and I love trading on LBank, but it is nice to see the ecosystem continue to grow and expand, because I think there needs to be a good balance of decentralized and centralized options for the market to remain resilient and moving forward as the chop of the market takes hold. Snake eating its own tail. Yeah, that's the snake eating its own tail is a great representation of the Wall Street and Treasury and Fed circuit. Absolutely, Crypto Cody. Absolutely. Now let's go into this. Grayscale's most bullish on these altcoins, you guys. Grayscale's launched CoinDesk Crypto 5 ETF, the GDLC, giving investors exposure to 90% of the crypto market through Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Cardano. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I admit I've been kind of iffy, not really sold on the idea that ETF participants, institutions would be taking the risk on altcoins. Felt like maybe they'd be a little bit more risk averse. Something that TJ really, I was talking to him on the phone and he really made some lights go off in my head. It's these institutions are just as degenerate as us. They just have bigger bags and more margin for error, really. So it is something to think about, that maybe these ETFs actually do start to move the buck. Maybe the ETFs actually do move the buck for a lot of these alts, that are getting exposure to ETFs. Is a very new concept and something that's kind of heady to wrap your head around. A fund manager or institution be like, yeah, we need some of that Solana ETF or XRP ETF. But smaller market cap, more disruptive approaches to technology, it kind of makes sense that they would see some involvement there. And even a slight amount of involvement on ETF inflows from institutions into these coins, or really anything in the top 100, is going to make for some pretty big moves in terms of price action. And here's why. It's because the market cap consolidation of power is very, very intense within the top 5 crypto projects, even top 6. Solana is at 129, BNB at 136 bill. And then you start moving all the way up to Bitcoin, which has absolute big dominance right now. Right around 57% of the market cap of crypto in total is in Bitcoin at $2.3 trillion. But once you start looking a little bit further down here, right, we got Dogecoin ETFs coming in. This thing's only a $40 billion market cap. Drawn at 32, Cardano at 32, Hyperliquid at 18, Chainlink at essentially 16. Avalanche right behind Chainlink. Good to see Avalanche catching up, and Avalanche has been bullish as all get out. It is beautiful seeing these Avalanche bags start to return back. And honestly, come back to $52, right? Come back to $52, Avalanche. But this is the lesson, is that it doesn't take much to really get these much smaller market caps to start getting that insane upside that alt season truly brings. This is something that, I've been cautiously optimistic about. But after speaking to a couple people that have been around larger institutions, much larger bag handlers, it makes a lot of sense that they would take speculative bets to a small percentage. Doesn't have to be 100% all in. They're not going to dump all their Bitcoin and go play around in XRP only or something like that. But 5% going into XRP out of a, Bitcoin focused company, that is going to be, a substantial move. It's going to be very exacerbated. So something interesting to think about. Definitely something that I'm having to consider as I'm heading towards the end of the year. We're ending up in that situation where the general 4-year cycle, if it holds true, we should be timing the market by jeeting all of these altcoins in November. As things sit right now with that kind of coiling that I showed you on the RSIs for Bitcoin and the general crypto market, it seems that we have a foothold to actually punch up higher and for just a bit longer than I'm used to in the crypto markets, which leads me to still look at that Q1 of 2026. So now we got to look at all these altcoins with SEC approval. These are all eligible for spot ETFs now. Cardano, Avalanche, Bitcoin Cash, hate it, but it's there. Dogecoin, Polkadot, Hedera, Chainlink, Litecoin, Solana, Stellar Lumens, and XRP. Very, very bullish for these things, actually. Very, very bullish. Let's see here. I want to see Banana Republic. So everyone's just planning on jeeting at the same time. Something doesn't feel right with this bull run, right? It is what it is. I'm going to start selling when I win hard against Bitcoin on Chainlink, on Avalanche, on all the different alts that I'm sitting on. I'm going to keep a chunk of Chainlink around, though. I'm going to keep a chunk of Chainlink around. Really, my exit strategy is all based around the pairing charts to Bitcoin, because my goal is to constantly increase the Bitcoin holdings over time. I really don't feel bad about that approach. Really don't feel bad about the approach. It doesn't make me a Bitcoin maxi. It just means that I don't have enough Bitcoin, right? I don't have enough Bitcoin. If I'm in a season where I'm winning hard in that Bitcoin pairing, say Avalanche is really running hard against Bitcoin and it's been winning for weeks on end, taking the profits, okay? Taking the profits. Megan, what? What do you mean what? What, Megan? Please clarify. Chainlink acquires 43,000 Link for its Chainlink reserve. Now they sit on 323,000 Chainlink for the organization, smoking their own supply. Obviously, they believe in themselves. Chainlink is something that is systematically important to the existence of crypto and the relationship with the current internet infrastructure. That is why I can have the confluence to hold a little bit of a moon bag, right? Even after the alt hype is done, even after things kind of calm down, the structural importance of Chainlink is why I have a longer outlook on Chainlink than really many of these other projects. So with that being said, seeing this Chainlink treasury started up, good confluence, but I'm really watching November. I think that November is actually going to be a very important time for Chainlink, because that's when the Swift integration and testing the CCIP cross-chain interoperability protocol goes into effect, right? And if they do a 1% of Swift transaction on CCIP, that pushes the price of Chainlink to near $400 without any speculation, without any movement, any ETF inflows, any of that stuff, any of us retail with our greasy hands trying to get in on positions. Just 1% of Swift transactions on CCIP will cook that up to $400, right? So systematically, I think it's important. And I'm here for it, right? Now, this is absolutely crazy. This is probably one of the more crazy posts I've ever seen. From Jaylene, CZ was spotted in a karaoke bar, smothered in models after hard day of crime coding. Now, I don't think that he's flat out crime coding, but we've seen CZ enter wolf mode over Hyperliquid success. We've seen the rise of Aster. And maybe this pullback over the weekend is something that I need to watch. Price action on Aster 4. Oh my God, it's still going up, you guys. 80 cents now. Absolutely vicious. Crime season, right? It's crime season. And I could have made nearly $100, right? Could have made nearly $100, but the proof's in the pudding. I mean, look at the native token of Binance. It breached $1,000. Binance BNB token literally breached $1,000 a piece. People were getting this for free when it first came out. It was like $1 way back when. God, I am so, and I remember last cycle, I was trying to get in on Binance. I was, I was using basic exchanges and I was kept getting all this like warning messages from the US government, like, don't use Binance. The DOJ is coming after you and all this crazy stuff. And I left it alone. This is why, ever since 2020, doing the opposite of what they tell me to do seems to have worked out. Doing the opposite of what the DOJ told me to do has seemed to work out over a long time. And seeing this graph is just more proof in the pudding. Shout out to everyone that got in on this, that hodled this. I mean, I know stories of people putting $1,000 at a dollar a token, now sitting on $1 million. Absolutely ridiculous movement and huge ode to Binance's performance. It's kind of front running what I think is to come for the remainder of altcoins. What we've seen is Bitcoin go to all-time highs first, then Ethereum, XRP, BNB. Solana's yet to do it, and a lot of these other ones are yet to do it, except for Hyperliquid, of course. But I think this money is indeed going to start flowing downhill with a real vicious velocity here. You just have to stay patient enough to see that flood come in, and you got to be patient enough to turn into this, right? Just kidding. Easy's unhinged. Easy's unhinged. And other things, Chainlink, NASDAQ listed company bought Link for the Chainlink treasury Caliber. So not only the Chainlink organization itself, but this organization Caliber, which is a wealth development company, has been leaning in and buying quite a bit of Chainlink for its treasury. Now, if that CCIP integration goes live and these companies are sitting on this level of treasuries, oh my God, that's probably going to be insane. Crypto Cody, I see you, and you
are banned.
Where are you? There you are. There you are. Okay. Okay, Crypto Cody. All right, now Cardano. Breaking the internet. It's trending, you guys. Well, I wish it would bust out of price action instead of breaking the internet. Where is Cardano's price? Where is Cardano's price? I know why they colored it blue, because it gives them blue balls. Let's see here. Let's see here. That's got some breaking out, some fighting to do, but not the worst chart. Not the worst chart, right? Not the worst chart. Not out of the woodwork yet. Seems like it, this is turbulent zone 100%. This is why it's so hard to get Cardano over $1. Look how many times it was proven as support in the last cycle, tried again, then turned in and flipped into resistance right here. This is the day that changed everything for Cardano, February 8th of 2022. Ever since then, $1 is this absolute battleground. We punched above it for just a brief amount of time, came back down below it. That is the proving ground for Cardano. That is the proving ground for Cardano. It would have helped if Cardano would have been included in, like, let's say the Wyoming stablecoin. Like, that was kind of shocking. Like, Charles, I think, even like lives in Wyoming. He's been on the Hill. He's been talking to congressional leaders and really trying to make a name for Cardano in the eyes of a government level. And it's seemingly being left on the sideline. Right? I don't know why. Maybe they don't want a truly decentralized proof of stake system to really rise up. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe because Charles has given up so much direct control and now Cardano has a open constitution within its major holders, its delegators that decide where the network goes. Maybe the lack of controllability is what's holding Cardano back from that giga mainstream adoption. That's an interesting question. Meowers, pull your question up here. I can't find your question because I got so many chats going, but I see it. What do you think of the yen carry trade unwinding happening again? This is a valid question. For anyone that wasn't around, if maybe you're new to crypto over the last few months, the yen carry trade caused Bitcoin to crash down to $49,000 from what was a range we were building up right in the 70, 60K range here. It was right after ETFs had come, and we're like, oh my God, it's up only. We're going up only. It's finally here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then Japan raised its interest rates and liquidated trillions of dollars in people that were taking advantage of the forex discrepancy of value in the local currency, the yen, compared to the US dollar. Now, I do feel that that trillions of dollars of washout, that honestly is not too crazy when I'm looking at this graph on the monthly, caused a lot of lessons learned, caused a lot of de-risking from those arbitrage market participants. So I do think a degree of lessons had been learned, but if I were had to wager, probably half of the people that were involved in getting liquidated in that zone from the yen carry trade, they probably got back. They probably got back in. So there's something to think about that. That is something to think about. If I saw that dip, I mean, I'm spending all of my fiat on Bitcoin. All of my fiat. Sound like the perfect spook before the market's pumped, the rate cuts. And that's exactly like the yen carry trade of yesteryear was that spook market moment to get people off of the charts, to get them out of the market, to get them sidelined before Bitcoin went on to rally from that crash, where we are now by over 145%. Great way for markets to wash us off the order books, right? And, they say, people say, oh, they don't do that. There's no nefarious system that literally just hates retail and doesn't want them to succeed. I beg to differ. I actually think the opposite. And the goal of these giant institutions is to keep the little man beat down. This is why cold storage, flat out, just focus on buying Bitcoin, putting it on an Arculus cold storage device, and diversifying and getting involved with an IRA program such as Bitcoin IRA is so powerful. And also, something I wanted to let you guys know. We had that clippable moment yesterday. Someone asked, give me a normie reason why Bitcoin is so powerful for the average person. If you guys go out there and get the clips, I'm willing to, and Discover Crypto, million follower account on X, we'll reshare your post. We'll get it out to the masses. We'll push those clips even farther and leave your name attached to it. We'll get your profile built up. I want to build you guys up the same way that you built this channel up and you've supported us over the last few years here. Okay. So if you do get a good clip, you put it up on X, tag Discover Crypto, tag Blockchain Basement, tag me, and I will reshare that. We'll reshare it from all of our platforms and we'll get your account blowing up, man. That is what I want to do here. And that'll actually help me continue to focus on trading. That'll actually help me continue to focus on trading. Soon, Isaac is going to be done with moving jail too. Oh, and you're asking when Nick Taylor, he just hodl. Okay, I talk to Nick quite often. We are. All right, so this is a kind of an example of that clipping some folks from the arena, and I got to follow her back, Zen Girl. She helped the Malik Mindset put the stream together last night. This is a huge stream. If you guys don't already follow these people, I got to actually follow Spicy Rich and let him know he's actually been in the show. He was pretty good. He had some good questions for Jason last night. But this is a good example. Finding great clips of important parts of conversation that more people need to hear is something that I would greatly appreciate some help from the community in getting out there, because I'm probably doing 5 to 6 shows a day, and it would really help me out if you found those clips and sent them over to me. Because I always end up like leaving the show and I know what I said that would be good, but then I have to hop to the next show. Got to go monitor the trades, got to go do all this stuff. And then I got to cook dinner and clean the house, work with the family, kiss the lovely kids, kiss the lovely wife. And then I pass out, right? Pass out hard after stopping my dog from eating someone on the road, right? So there's many things going on. This is some interesting insight on why Morpho is so juicy, the yield generation and how it works on Morpho. So lenders deposit USDC into Morpho vaults, which turns into deposit those USDC into Morpho markets. For instance, Coinbase earn users can deposit into USDC vaults curated by the Stakehouse Fi, which will curate those deposits depending on market conditions and opportunities. And the Morpho market is where borrowers can deposit an asset as collateral, like wrap Bitcoin, the CBBTC, and borrow the deposited USDC. Now, what I've seen is a concentration of this lending activity be outwardly highlighted by Coinbase, second biggest crypto app on the planet. Binance is still the winner. Binance is still the biggest crypto exchange. Coinbase is trying to compete with it. Now, Coinbase is focusing in on Morpho, on Aerodrome for different reasons. Morpho for the lending inside the app, Aerodrome for, essentially the token swaps, token launches, all kinds of things going on with Aerodrome, as well as the DeFi side. Obviously, as Veteran Crypto knows, he's out there printing constantly. So these two competing factions are going to game the system to gain the spotlight, right? And in that gaming the system, earning the spotlight, be it by, payments of advertising, making sure the products in front of the larger masses, I think getting in early on the products that's in the guts of Binance and Coinbase is probably going to end up pretty damn lucrative in the long run here. So I saw a good question here. Let's see here. Where is it? All right. Druth Binance price prediction by 2027. I mean, as I sit right now, I think there's still going to be a pullback on alts, man. I feel that Binance probably still has the juice to 2x. Binance probably still has the juice to 2x. Crazy as it may sound, BNB is probably going to 2Gs. But then the pullback, the alt season pullback, the sad zone, so to speak, I could see it coming back down and finding some support around $700, right? 700, probably, in between $500 to $700. I think that's, in a pullback situation. That's my heart of hearts. Maybe you have completely different targets, and that's fine. Everyone's going to be looking for something different out of the market. That's generally what I feel like. Stuck in the dryer zone. Nasty. Oh man. Pendle Cirque. Pendle is one of my biggest regrets because I covered Pendle when it was at the extreme lows. I believed in it all the way through the extreme lows. Now it's mooning. It's just part of the game, man. I can't own everything. I can't buy every single token that I think is good, but I do support good projects, good ecosystems. Pendle's a very, very strong DeFi play. And I think DeFi is very small compared to where it's going. So take that for what it is. Shout out to Crypto Stash. Crypto Stash with the look. Check it out. I think Crypto Stash should wear this every single show. Huge shout out to your Crypto Stash. Love the stuff here. This is a rejuvenation. All my hearties be knowing I'm the fiercest pirate, the sail the 7 crypto seas. Enjoy the day with plenty of rum and chasing the booty. Wow. Fantastic work. Now, Pengu. Breaking out of a textbook cup and handle pattern, targeting 22 cents. That'd be a 400% bull rally from where it is. Pengu, pretty darn clear cup and handle. New project released high, dumps hard. The excitement around alts was not here. Bitcoin dominance, full effect, ultra pain for alts. Found that floor. Luca Nets, founder, knows how to run a profitable business, has multiple businesses. Actually, I have a Gel Blaster. Gel Blasters are also part of Luca Nets' company portfolio. I have a lot of those things. And now it's returned back to that original price release zone. Spent some time over the course of the last, say, months building up structure here. And it is a very, very textbook cup and handle pattern. Now, a 400% bull rally. I don't know if it's going to get that crazy, but it does seem that the penguin wants to fly. We all know penguins can't actually fly in real life, but maybe on the blockchain, the penguin will learn how to fly, right? It kind of feels that way. And I think the game is kind of interesting. I have the game on my phone. I have the the little toys, little assets, and things like that. And Pengu, it kept the lights on for NFTs. Pengu kept the lights on for NFTs while all the darkness took over and mutant apes and bored apes fell to extreme lows. Pengu actually helped the limelight still slightly remain on, even though the limelight was focused on Pengu. The Pengu ecosystem helped validate that good NFTs were here to stay. So, you know what? I support it. I like it. I think the penguins are cute. And I'll keep talking about it. I'm not sorry. Now, this is interesting. From a channel supporter here, Will Not Break USA. Shout out to you if you're watching the show here. Quick little pow. Would love to hear your thoughts on the Keta Network deep dive in general from Discover Crypto Blockchain Basement, Joshua Jake, Druth, and DZ. Been following you gentlemen for over a year now and truly appreciate the value and work that you do. First of all, thank you very much for following the channel and for giving me this shout out. Now, let's look at this announcement. Keta's upcoming mainnet debut compares rare scale with regulatory focus. Backed by former Google CEO Eric Schmidt, the chain plans to go live with hundreds of millions of wallets and built-in compliance tools designed to handle cross-border money flow. Summary, Keta, backed by this Eric Schmidt, ex-Google CEO, will launch its mainnet September 22nd with 235 million wallets. The network supports USDC transfers, asset swaps, and off-ramps with built-in compliance. Now, for the angle that Keta is trying to take, or, I remember seeing all like the Visa integrations and things like trying to get cooked into the current money transmitters. Compliance is indeed a part of the game that you need to make sure is in place for any crypto project that wants to be utility driven and actually used by humans across the planet. So Keta's KTA token underpins the governance and already trades on 13 exchanges. According to press release shared by Crypto News, September 17th, Schmidt-backed Project Keta will officially activate its mainnet on Monday, September 22nd. So actually, in just a few days, the launch will unlock the platform's core functionality, including native USDC transfers from any chain, seamless asset swaps, and simplified off-ramps. Notably, the network will go live not as a blank slate, but with a staggering 235 million distinct wallets already holding non-zero balances, a figure that includes 40 million wallets that have already executed transactions, according to the Keta team. So this is, information coming directly from the Keta team. They're going to hype themselves up to a degree, but the backing of Eric Schmidt, something is going on here. Something is afoot with Keta. I will say that. I don't own this project, but where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm seeing smoke. Okay, I'm seeing utility smoke. And something, when I see that they've launched the token, it's been trading, and then the actual system is just about to go live, I find concern, right? And I've seen a lack of follow through on the hype with the integrations with Visa since they were originally released. The Visa news, it lasted like 2 or 3 days. And then you're just like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction looking for the juice on the price action. And I think the last time I looked at the price, it didn't spark joy. So let's actually go look at the price. Let's go look at the price. 86 cents right now. Okay. 86 cents right now. Not horrible. Not horrible. Could be. Yeah, I'm looking at Sivo. I'm almost like feeling like there might be a strong degree of hype. Let's go to DeFi loan. Let's go. Let's go here. Where did I end up going here? I want to go to Keta. I want to go to Keta. Let's see here. I wonder if DeFi Llama has just general Keta information. I had some brisket and sausage right before the show. After I got stopped out for that 10%, I had to go for a walk. And I said it to TJ. I was like, I'm longing. I see a lot of confluence in longing. This 10% stop loss is going to hurt because I built this damn account up. Sure shit. Right there. But I don't get the Keta information here. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep searching for it because I something feels a little bit off with the Keta hype. I will say something in my heart feels a little bit off with the Keta hype. Not trying to fudge or fud the bags or anything like that. Malik saying I was pissed. Malik was like calling me right as my stop loss hit. He's like, "Why did the market pull back, Drew?" I was like, "I don't know, Matt. I don't know." He's like, we were both like, kind of worked up about it. And I was like, "You sound like you didn't leave your stop loss." Thankfully, it sounded like you left a stop loss on, so fine. And there's money that, we've been building up through the last few weeks. New money, come, easy go. So that's why I keep stop losses on to be able to retain as much of those trading monies as possible, right? Because there will be pain. There will be blood in crypto. So as we head into the weekends, Bitcoin dominance got to be something we got to check out here, guys. And actually, this is going to be kind of tough here to say. Bitcoin dominance looks like it wants to go up. I know the money flows angled down. I know. If you know Market Cypher, and shout out to Market Cypher and CryptoFace. We actually have an affiliate link in the description if you want to get these metrics for money flow, VWAP, momentum waves. They're fantastic. This kind of looks like it wants to go up from here. We have the trigger on the VWAP. The momentum, very, very deep downward momentum wave. And, this actually looks like it's going to try to fight back this week, which is not going to be fun for alts if it does. Because it's not all up only for alts, all strippers and burritos all the time, guys. Okay, it really isn't. We've fallen on Bitcoin dominance by about 13%. That's a heck of a haircut. And I don't think that it's done. My general target for Bitcoin dominance in this cycle, the alt season blow off top, it is still at 50%, but I will say there's some pretty smart people that have been around the markets even longer than me that are actually talking about a move down to 45%. Now, the difference of 45% Bitcoin dominance to 50% Bitcoin dominance really seems negligible, right? Well, I beg to differ, okay? If we hit, I'm just going to explain this real simply. 50% dominance of Bitcoin and continued growth of, say, things like Aerodrome. If we see Bitcoin dominance fall to 50%, Aerodrome keeps building and absorbing some of those inflows. We're talking like a $10 Aerodrome, right? But if we actually breach below this 50 mark and head towards 45, that turns into $15, $20 Aerodrome, potentially even more, right? And it's almost like a bullish fever dream thinking about this happening because there's a trend line on Bitcoin dominance of just generally higher lows, right? Bitcoin continuing to move up and to the right against alts as it's the belle of the ball, which it absolutely is. There's Bitcoin reserves. There's always things like that. It is a stupidly bullish environment for altcoins to think about if we do get near this trend line. God, another smart person in the chat thinking 45, 46% is actually doable too. God. Yeah. I mean, that is absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane. It is a fever dream. Crazier things have happened though before. And we've spent a long time being beat down in the altcoin sector. We have spent a long time being beat down. All eyes on Bitcoin, the strategic reserves and things like that. You won't experience the upside of this situation if you're not in position. And I think not taking a risk in altcoins is my biggest risk because I know that the dollar is going to continue being devalued. I know that the government is going to scam like they always do, inject a ton of money to fix those commercial real estate situations like I showed you at the beginning of the show. I know that they're going to keep rugging the fiat currency system. So taking chances getting a position ahead of time on my favorite alts is how I'm trying to prepare for something that in my heart of hearts is something of a surety. What will the price be if it hits 45% Robert Nash acts? That's some of the fun part. In historic Bitcoin price movements, as the dominance of Bitcoin fell, the price rises exponentially, right? So this situation, I'm built around the idea that we have the velocity to hit $170,000 to $200,000 Bitcoin in this cycle, but it still is very much so time-based and how much I'm winning against Bitcoin, because I'm not going to be selling my Bitcoin. I'm selling the alts into Bitcoin, right? All at once, more Bitcoin and houses, Second Amendment goods. So that is what it is. Matthew, I know I looked at Aster. You're going to make me crash out if I have to look at it again, but fine. Okay. There it is. We looked at it. It was at 80 cents. It's absolutely pumping. Who in the chat, in the arena chat, Matthew, remember who was talking about this? Was it Atlas? I think Atlas was going off on us. She was yelling at me, and I was like trying to buy Aster last night at 50 cents. It is what it is. CZ ain't going to lose that. I mean, he is going to fight back against Hyperliquid. And I think there's going to be some major things done to pump it up. Yeah, absolutely, Robert Nash. And good question. Robert Nash, that was a fantastic question. It's like when I talk about Bitcoin dominance dropping, people's like, what do you mean? Bitcoin's going to, crash? No. Bitcoin dominance dropping means that altcoins take the limelight, but Bitcoin's price still moves up and to the right, right? Let's see here. No way. Brian, no way. Alex Becker's watches. Get real. No, he's not. If he is, that fucking golden, that Desert Eagle is delicious. Okay? Fantastic work. All right? If you actually are watching me, get more of those, my mans. Crypto needs more of that energy, Alex. All right? It needs more of this energy, brother. Jesus. That's what we need. That's the kind of energy that we need in crypto. You know what I mean? We don't need any of this middle of the road. Oh, maybe it's going to be good. Maybe it's going to be bad. The metrics look good. We know that the government's rugging us in the fiat currency system, right? We know that we need an escape. There is nothing clearer on this planet than we know that we need an escape from the existing system. Oh my God, he actually is watching. What is he doing too? He's like making the Gedimus Maximus chart go ballistic. Guess what? It's going to the moon. I'm not selling. Don't care. Not selling. Not selling the bags of Gedimus. Even though it's named Gedimus, it's ironically named that way, right? Alex Becker. That is funny. Alex Becker has made it to the chat, everybody. There you go. Fantastic. That was unexpected chaos right there. That was absolutely unexpected chaos. Oh, and here come the sniper bots. Jesus, we bonded. See, and this is the thing about Pump Fund. I don't have to sell a single one of these tokens. Like, all I need is transactional volume for creator rewards. And these are the kind of mechanisms that create longevity in SocialFi networks. We have different approaches from Pump Fund to the plays on Avalanche, right? They're trying different mechanisms. I like seeing social networks go fast and break things, because as it sits right now, guess how much YouTube takes of our income, right? The super chat, they take 80%. They take 80%. Like, so what the hell are we supposed to do? Just keep taking it up the rear, right? Or are we going to go out and create new mechanisms to find? God, I think we bonded already too. Holy Jesus. What is happening on Gedimus? That is absolutely ridiculous, bro. That is absolutely ridiculous. Shout out to you. Oh my God. You know what? The people that believed in me, that thing had higher lows all the way, but it didn't bond at all. And I just kept making content. Look what happens if you just stay locked in, right? Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you, man. God, I don't even feel like ending. We should just keep going. It take 80. Bro, hold on.
You are banned!
Sack Nasty, get the hell out of here, man. Jesus Christ almighty. 80%. Yeah, I agree that's wrong, man. I agree that's wrong. They should not be taking 80% of the income. Like, we work really hard. You know how far I drive to get to the office every single day for the last 4 years? I drive an hour and a half one way. Take care of 4 kids. This morning was very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. Right? Very difficult day, but I still came because I freaking love you guys. And I want you guys to succeed. Okay? I want to be honest about what I see on the blockchain. I want to call out the crap out there like Hex. And I want to deport every Hexican that shows up in the chat. Where is my deport button? Do I not have a deport button anymore? I need the deport button. Isaac, when you are back, you are creating me my deport button again. I need a deport button. So, Laserface, what is up? Jeez Louise, what a wild day. Absolutely incredible. We should try to get Alex on the show. Alex, this is Discover Crypto, man. We got like a 1.4 million subscribers on YouTube. You should come on the show sometime and do an interview. I would love to do that interview. I would love to do that interview. Hex, the Hex Witches. The Hex Witches. They have a fetish for being exit liquidity. It is what it is. Right? They have the Hexicans have a fetish for being exit liquidity. Not surprised by it. Absolutely insane. God, absolutely insane. Now, the move, like I put the offer in on the house. I didn't get the house. It's next to the new office. So I'm sitting here fighting for the next house. It is what it is. I'm going to get it. Right. And actually, I'm seeing a huge drop in mortgage rates. Right. So over the course of the remainder of the year, mortgages coming down in interest rate costs, I think is something very, very cool to see for me in my current life. Right. Because I need to find that next location. Now I'm basically like have a 30-year short on the dollar with the mortgage being at 3%. I think with the current velocity of macroeconomic pain, we could see mortgages come around like the 4.5% interest rate mark, which would be absolutely fantastic. God damn, our coin graduated the bonding curve on Pump Fund. That is absolutely nuts. We ran up to like 175,000 market cap. Now the JEETs are coming out, but you know what? It's aptly named JEET. Okay. It's aptly named JEET. So, you know what? JEET if you must, right? JEET if you must. Okay. I'm not going to JEET because my job is to come to Pump Fund, to come to the arena and give you the alpha. Okay. Give you the alpha. Huge shout out. What a wonderful show. Love and appreciate every single one out there in the crypto ecosystem. Stay based, keep your crypto on a cold storage device, get involved with a Bitcoin IRA with our partner Bitcoin IRA. And I love and appreciate you, right? Lead with a smile, love in your heart, and one in the chamber. That is the truth approach. I love you guys. Treat your family good, be good to your neighbors, and I will. Oh yeah, you want to see the chart? All right, fine. Let's go to the chart here. This is crazy. This is the chaos that goes on Pump Fund. This is and you know, it's going to have insane ups and downs. And you know, there's going to be people bitching at me like, do this and do that with the chart on Pump Fund. Literally, I don't have to listen to any of their advice because I'm in control. And look, creator fees go absolutely fantastic. So we went nuts. Now it's coming back down. We graduated the bonding curve. And I'm going to keep experimenting on it. I want to see Pump Fund and the arena succeed. I want to see social media disruption. I want to stop seeing YouTube take 80%. I want to have options, right? And I'm going to support the ecosystems that are trying to make it happen. I love and appreciate you guys out there in the world. Stay focused, okay? There is one guarantee I feel in my heart of hearts is that inflation is going to keep getting worse and the government is going to keep printing your money into zero. So we have to take risks. We have to take risks. I like Avantis, Crypto Stevo. I like Avantis very, very much. Love you guys. Treat each other well, and I'll see you on the other side.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.